Welcome to the Sporting Wood Morning Show.
Hello.
Joined here by my pal Andreas.
What it do?
My name's Alex. We're here to talk to you about the NFL season, the upcoming NFL season, and how it correlates with daily fantasy. Looking to give you some picks, some insight, and hopefully not pound our dicks too much about what we're going to tell you, but hopefully it works out.
Or you know, we can show off the goods. We're no Nick Foles, but you know, I put our junk on the block.
Nick Foles is he's a starter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
We'll see. His starting position looks safe on that team. What's in the news?
So we'll break down the news a little bit, the recent stuff that happened in the last week, and then we're going to get into some DFS for you guys, break down some of our favorite matchups, and then some of our favorite picks. You know, some of the picks on the cheap, and then other guys that are a little more pricey, but guys that we still like and that you should pay up for because they have really good baselines. And then we'll give you a little bit of a breakdown of our matchups that we have going on in our league, 12 Dudes, 1 Cup.
It's the only thing that's important.
So it should be the funnest 38 minutes of your life.
Hopefully, 28. But we'll see.
So obviously the big news, Le'Veon Bell still has not showed up, stuck in traffic.
AWOL.
Yeah. What do you make of this?
I think everyone hates him now. His team is angry.
Everybody?
His offensive line.
Not his agent.
The people that make holes for him. Oh, his agent is he's his biggest backer. I think it's bad for the league. It's bad for the team. I don't like it.
No, for sure. Obviously, you see how it's affecting the locker room a little bit and some of that morale over there. You know, these guys, how much do they want to fight for this guy if he won't even show up to work?
The far range, it's going to have a huge impact too on the league, and especially Week 1 DFS, because you got guys like James Conner who are going to come in as just the absolute chalk on daily fantasy. So,
which chalk means again?
The overwhelming favorite,
popular favorite. Everyone's going to be reaching for Conner, especially because he's so cheap. You know, especially for the first week, they put these lineups out a long time ago.
If you're a season-long player and you see whomever has picked up James Conner in your league, and somebody had to have by now.
Yeah,
his projection, I believe, is somewhere along the lines of an RB1.
Oh no, for sure. He's on that RB1-2 cusp.
He's gonna be involved in the passing game. He's gonna be involved in the run game. He's gonna get 20 touches in this game.
Which if he is available in your leagues, go get him. You know, obviously worth a stash. We don't know how long Le'Veon Bell is gonna hold out for. The news right now is that he most likely will not play Game 1. And even if he does, I mean, he'd be super limited. He still hasn't shown up to practice today. Today was the first day of practice for the week, so.
We saw this last year. We saw him hold out last year, come in week 1 and bust.
No, for sure.
As chalk.
We just didn't have that much opportunity. They only gave him 10 carries, I think, and so I mean, how much action can you get?
You can't give a guy a full workload who hasn't shown up.
No, for sure.
And that we showed that. Originally, that's why I kind of liked the Browns defense this week as a streaming punt GPP defense at 2K min price. I like it a lot, but with Lev Bell now uncertain to play, I actually like them a little less.
Oh.
And I think that
a twist.
I think it's because they might lean on the pass game a little bit more. I think James Conner is more ready to play also, and
so does Antonio Juju? These guys get a little bit of a boost.
The Steelers are a good passing team. They're one of the best passing teams in the league. So it's going to be difficult for me to pull the trigger on the Browns. Although the Browns, they're good against the run, and if anything, that's just reason to fade Conner in GPPs this week.
They got a good front, and I think their defense is going to surprise this year.
In cash games, I think you automatically plug and play James Conner without thinking twice. You're not going to find a better value. In tournaments, we'll get to it later, but there's a player that I like in tournaments as a possible pivot that I think I'll have on.
Stay tuned, kids.
Yeah. You like pivots, don't you?
Another big news I don't think we talked about last week is JERICK McKinnon.
Brutal.
Yeah. Potential workhorse back for the Niners goes down. Running a route. Nobody touched him.
More of a reason to have your draft the Wednesday night before the season starts to avoid stuff like this.
Last minute. Have it the morning before the Thursday game. Go have breakfast at Denny's. We need to get sponsored by Denny's. I plug them a lot.
We spend a lot of time there.
Yeah. So obviously that opens the door for Alfred Morris and Breda. Which one do you like better?
Breed is the guy you want.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially in a Shanahan-run team, you want guys that can catch the ball in the backfield. Alfred Morris is still going to have value throughout the year, most definitely as a backup. But I think Breed is the guy. Breed is the guy now who, if you drafted him on your team as a non-handcuff, as just a guy, you got an RB1 at a discount.
No, for sure.
Same thing with James Conner too. You know, a lot of he was going in a lot of drafts, somewhat early, just based on the Le'Veon Bell news and the uncertainty with Bell. So I mean, teams that did that are really in good shape.
No, for sure.
Really in good shape.
Yeah, no, I know a couple leagues. I know guys added Breda last couple rounds, and good for you.
Yeah, they're gonna probably do well.
A couple more bits of news.
Before we go anywhere, let me just ask you this. What do you think about the possibility of Le'Veon Bell being traded? Do you think that's in the realm of possibility?
I don't think anything's out of the realm, but...
We saw that happen to KHALIL MACK, which is another thing we didn't touch on. It's less attractive news, daily fantasy-wise, because it's on the defensive end.
Right, yeah.
And I don't think that... It's hard to quantify what he's going to do to the Browns' defense.
Right.
But it's definitely going to make the Raiders' defense struggle this year, I think.
No, for sure.
What do you think, as a Raiders fan, how do you think this impacts the team morale-wise and just going forward in their last year in Oakland?
They got through training camp. They got through preseason, with him holding out. So I think that they'll be okay as far as morale goes. As far as their defense goes, I mean, I hate when any team in any team sport overvalues a player. Not to say he's overvalued, but when they value someone that much. When they'll take up that much cap space, spend that much money on one guy. This is a team,
It's a team sport. You want to have the best players. I understand. You got to think about the future. They picked up a couple of first-rounders. Do you think this is just something to take with them going into Vegas next year?
No, for sure. And like I said, they're saving $140 million to be spent elsewhere. So maybe it's a mistake. A lot of people are saying it is, but we'll have to see how it shakes out.
Now, if you're Derek Carr and you negotiated your contract back when you did, and you did it with the contingency that I'm going to take a discount so we can afford to re-sign guys like Mack. If you're Derek Carr, do you have any trust left in the front office of Oakland or Las Vegas?
I believe you do. It looks like those guys have a really good relationship. Looks like everyone's jiving over there. Carr, Gruden, Lynch, the back office. I think they got something decent going right now. Everyone's criticizing Gruden, but we'll have to see how it all shakes out.
Okay, that's fair enough. I'm on the opposite end of that spectrum. I think it's signs of peril for this season in Oakland. But I think going forward, this may be a lost season anyhow. We'll see how it ends up, but not looking too bright.
They're going to win every game.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Bank it. Send it.
That's the end of that.
Take it to the counter.
Yeah, and then they're going to Vegas and cash out.
What do you think of Doug Baldwin?
I don't.
Not often. He's on my team.
He's cool. Why?
He said last week that he's going to play this season about 85% healthy.
Yeah, he's a liar. He's just trying to fuck with people.
Right.
Have you ever heard of the old rope-a-dope?
So I guess the public tends to react to statements that these players make pretty dramatically, and I think this is an example of just the public perception overreacting to somebody saying something like this right away when in the NFL, in all likelihood, there's not one player that plays every game 100%. Right?
Yeah.
So going into the year, if you're feeling a little banged up and you make a statement like this, what do you? That's going to change his ADP in a lot of leagues.
No, it
dramatically, right?
No, it reverberates totally. But Doug Baldwin, traditionally a guy that's never had a really good, strong start to the season. He's always been a second half, wonder.
Last season, especially, had a great second half.
Yeah,
started
the
off
last
slow.
2-3 seasons. Yeah, so I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he got off to a slow start again. Seattle's got to find themselves in this new offense that they have going. So I'm not worried about Doug Baldwin. It's good for the people that drafted him, because when I was first doing mock drafts months ago, he was going the second round, and then he slipped down to fourth and fifth, and so I think he'll be all right.
I got him in the fourth in our league, which was
good.
pretty nice.
Again, good pickup. I was going to take him if you hadn't, so we'll see.
Luckily, he was there.
I think he'll be all right. And again, they have access to drugs that we've never even heard of.
Things we can't pronounce.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's something to look into. The only other story, I think, is maybe just let's go over some of the inactives for Philly going into tomorrow as favorites against Atlanta. What do you think no Alshon and no Wentz is going to do to that team? defending champions.
Foles kind of sucked a dick in the preseason, so hopefully he can get going, transform himself back into Super Bowl Foles, and get some balls moving, because I may or may not have some interest in that game. Spoiler alert, I do. And
You got skin in the game?
I got Aguilar going, I got Jay Ajayi going, I got the kicker going.
This is for season long.
I got the ball handlers going. The guy that catches the fucking field goals that fall through the net, I got him going.
His name's Johnny, I think.
Yeah, so Johnny, you better come through for me.
He's a good kid.
Yeah, but no, I think they'll be all right. It's a little bit of a, I mean,
but you're talking season long too, right? Just to clarify,
season.
This is your season long team that you got these guys going.
Right. Yeah. So but yeah, Wentz going down. That's a little bit of a tough break, but I think Foles will be okay. Ajayi is obvious is a start. Atlanta's run D isn't stout. You know, they usually are the back end of the running defenses. Yeah. So I think JJ will have plenty of opportunity, and so I'm plugging him in there for sure. Right. I have Aguilar going just because I'm a little bit lighter at wide receiver, but Foles he really likes to target Aguilar. He targeted him a lot in the playoffs last year and in the Super Bowl, and Ertz as well. Obviously, you're playing Ertz. Don't worry about benching him or anything.
Now these are guys that you're going to undoubtedly play in your season long lineups. Now for daily fantasy, I'm not as big a fan of these guys week one as a lot of people might.
Oh
be.
No, for sure. Yeah, no. If there's better value to be had for sure in other places.
I think there's a general overreaction week one when it comes to the Thursday night game that people are just so anxious to play. They're going to create a lot of teams with players that are suboptimal. Yeah. So I think a smart thing to do this week would be to load up on the Thursday through Monday slate and just kind of fade the Thursday games. Mm-hmm. Put your regular lineup in that slate. And I think the leverage over the field is going to be tremendous. You're going to have a lot of lineups that are going to be dead after Thursday night.
Yeah.
So that's some advice.
No, I feel you. Definitely people want to
take advantage of the late
getting
swap.
antsy, but so are these players too. They could be all jacked up on Thursday night, ready to go.
Yeah.
But some Thursday games traditionally have been stinkers, but I think the first game of the season is
week one. I like the unders almost across the board.
Yeah.
If you're asking me, I like the unders. I think that preseason's handled a little differently than it's been in the past decade, and these teams are resting their starters. I think the curve is going to lean to the defenses, I think, starting out the year. So okay. I like a lot of the unders. And the good thing about the unders too, right? As soon as the game starts, your ticket's a winner.
Yeah, you're winning. Just go cash your ticket out right then.
Just hope nothing happens the rest of the game.
Yeah. And what do you think about the other side of the ball, Atlanta?
I like Atlanta. I like Atlanta. Julio Jones typically has fared very well against the Eagles, so that's a guy that is on my radar. If I were to have any skin in that game, I like him. I like Aguilar on the other side, actually, too, especially with Alshon out. He should get more of a target share, and, he's a good player. I don't really like anybody else besides Ertz on the Eagles. Yeah. Ertz, by the way, is the first Eagle in Philly history to get more than 70 receptions in 3 consecutive seasons. So that's a feather in his cap.
I didn't know that.
That's a feather in his cap.
Bits of trivia, kids.
Read it on a popsicle stick.
Ask your friends that tomorrow. They're not going to fucking know that.
I'm not going to have any idea. You heard it
any
from
other news?
Boardingwood Morning Show. There's a lot of news.
Any other newsworthy stuff?
Well, I have a theory, or maybe a hope, I guess you could call it.
Lay it on me.
We got a bunch of angry large offensive linemen in Pittsburgh, and we got a 49ers team without a starting running back. Now,
I think you led up to this already.
Well, it's probably a fever dream that I'll be having for the next couple of nights, but Le'Veon Bell and
holding out hope for them
crimson and gold would be pretty nice.
They have enough money? Can they afford Le'Veon Bell?
They've got plenty of money.
They just paid McKinnon through the nose. They're going to pay up for another running back?
They could.
Not a chance.
They could.
I mean, it could happen. You never know.
I don't think it's going to happen, but it's something we can all hope for.
Well, kids, tuck your, Niners fans, tuck your Le'Veon Bell pictures underneath your pillow tonight and hopefully have a wet dream and it comes true.
Squeeze them tight. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, moving on to the daily fantasy slate for this week. I know you've been staring at the pricing for 3 weeks now, maybe a little longer. Everyone kind of has. There's going to be a lot of... the other unique thing about this slate is the way the pricing works out. You can almost make any lineup you want.
Yeah,
with just a few
definitely
restrictions.
Yeah, they put out the lineups, for some of these contests weeks ago. So some of these guys, that were backups that are now starters are stupid cheap, like a la Connor.
Connor's going to be the chalk. He's the chalk. If you're playing cash games,
He's just an example.
If you're playing cash games in daily fantasy this week, you're going to play James Conner and not think twice.
Yeah.
There's no better value on the board. Now, if you're playing a tournament, you have to deal with the fact that he's going to be 40+% owned, and you have to make a choice. You really got to determine if he's going to be worth it or if you want leverage on the field. Now, earlier I was saying there was a player that I think in the same price range that I like a lot, and it's Carlos Hyde.
I like him too.
He'll be involved in the running and passing game. We don't really know how the backfield's going to work in Cleveland yet, so I like to take the chance on that bit of mystery and maybe pivot over to him in that game. And I love the direct correlation as well, because if you have you have a good Browns run defense, right? If the Browns are stuffing the run, and you have Hyde break off a couple of runs, you can really swing. You can swing the field in your advantage quick. If Hyde outscores James Conner, it's going to be a good day.
That's a hot take.
It's going to be a nice day on Sunday.
I'm with that.
It's a hot take, all right. Whether or not it happens, we shall see. Who do you like? Who else do you like in that game?
In the Browns and Steelers?
You like Antonio Brown?
Well, obviously, but he's expensive. How much is Brown going for?
Brown is 8,900.
That's a lot of quiche. Yeah, no, 8,600. Yeah, so he's the priciest wide receiver on the slate, of course. Hopkins expensive too, 8,300. But
I think if we'll go position by position soon.
Okay.
But out of that game, I think if you're taking a shot in the dark, you're going to play the Browns defense. They're 2K. Admittedly, I like them less than I did
with Le'Veon.
Yeah.
Le'Veon, Pittsburgh's D.
We saw it last year. Le'Veon showed up unprepared, and he didn't get the ball very much. He was a bust. This week, I like him less with James Conner. I like the Browns D a little less, but it's still somebody I'm going to take shots on.
Okay.
I like the passing game. I think in tournaments where I fade Conner, I'm going to go heavy Ben and AB, and maybe run it back with a tight end. Maybe Jesse James at 2,700 is a good value, and that's only if Vance McDonald isn't ready to go.
That's really cheap.
He'll probably be a game time decision, or at least you'll get the information in the morning on Sunday. But the Browns, terrible against opposing tight ends, worst in the league.
Really?
You can almost bank on a tight end scoring for the Steelers. But who it's going to be, I don't know yet.
Yeah,
so
that's a little fight between old Jesse and Mr. McDonald.
All right. So let's take a look at some of our favorite plays for the week. At quarterback, who stands out to you at quarterback?
I'm gonna give two picks per position. The guys that are a little bit cheaper, and the guys that are are pricey, but I don't mind paying up for.
And you can
yeah. So for quarterback, Deshaun Watson, I like him a lot. He's 6,700. I think there's some shootout potential there in New England.
Now, coming off an injury with the highest over-under of the week, are you afraid at all of bust potential with Watson?
Not at all. They're
Yeah.
going to have his legs super padded up with the super drugs and whatever kind of spells or incantations that they got going on in Houston. So I like him a lot. What about you? What's the price of your quarterback you don't mind paying up for?
Honestly, it's going to be Phillip Rivers for me. I like that passing. I like the potential for a good passing day for him. That KC defense isn't stopping anybody. I'm a big fan of Phil Rivers this week.
Okay, right on. My cheaper guy that I kind of like is Mr. Blake Bortles. At the Giants, 5,600. A cheapo.
Not bad. I like Blake Bortles. I like his tight end. I like ASJ a lot.
Hopefully he plays. He's been kind of banged up too, though. But they have plenty of tight ends.
He got the
over
Q
there.
tag today. I don't know what's going to happen with that. You like? I'm assuming you like Keelan Cole as well.
Oh, for sure. I love Keelan Cole.
D.D. Westbrook.
The guy I was targeting a lot of my best balls, Keelan Cole. I think he'll be fantastic. Even though they lost Marquise Lee, who inconsequential, they still got D.D. Westbrook there. Keelan Cole. Fournette in the backfield. I think that they're going to be a strong offense this year. even with Blake Bortles, but he surprises people. He's someone that a lot of people undervalue. Has finished a top 12 quarterback a few times, so I'm not worried about him, especially in this decent matchup in New York.
Keelan Cole will be chalk on Sunday.
Yeah,
he's the
chalk.
One of the cheapest wide receivers you can get. The cheapest wide receiver one on the market. So I think him and James Conner make a great start for your cash games. Now in tournaments, I'm not sure how much exposure I'm going to have, but I'm not opposed to it.
You don't like exposing yourself?
Not since the incident.
Yeah.
But the legal proceedings have cleared things up, and I'm ready to move forward.
Good for you. And you can, get close to schools again. Fight that battle.
Yards, feet.
What about you? You got any bargain price? What we already talked about.
Oh, well, as badly as I'm tempted to play Case Keenum, I think I'll reserve that for Tyrod Taylor. He's a running quarterback. He's a guy you can play without necessarily correlating him with the receiver. Running quarterbacks give you that luxury.
Oh, for sure.
They tend to make up for lack of top-end receiver targets with some ground. Kind of like that game anyway. So I like Tyrod as my cheap guy.
Yeah, no, you do like
he's
a lot
sneaky.
Of guys in this game.
He's sneaky. He's 5,400. He allows you to do a lot lineup construction-wise.
Very cheap. Even cheaper than Blake Bortles.
Yeah, so put that in your pipe.
Replace mine with that.
My favorite quarterback of the week, though, and this is going to be a theme with a lot of positions, Andy Dalton.
Andy? Yeah, I like him.
I like it. Red Rocket looks good this week. I like the game. I like the shootout potential. I like, we'll get to the other positions soon. Who do you like at running back?
Running back.
Who's your RB1? And we're going to take James Conner out of this equation because he's the chalky answer.
Yeah,
he's the no-brainer answer. What top-end running backs are you looking at?
A dude I do not mind paying up for. Well, actually, two of them. I like DJ and Kamara a lot. I don't mind paying up for these guys, especially Kamara. Great matchup at home against Tampa Bay.
Huge home favorites.
Nobody else there to kind of threaten his position. They brought Gillislee in, but I mean he might steal some goal line work from Kamara. But I mean he's going to catch the ball, especially in Draftkings, a full point PPR. So
yeah,
same thing for DJ too. Like he's the only show in town back there, so he's going to get stupid volume. So I don't mind paying up for either of these guys.
I think they're both going to be pretty popular week one. They probably have the best two matchups at running back. It's going to be interesting to see how people work them into their lineups, especially with that James Conner value. I don't know if they're going to end up with DJ in the flex. I think in a lot of my lineups, DJ is making the flex spot for me.
You seem a little obsessed with this James Conner guy.
He's the most important piece of the puzzle, I think, for week one.
He's the chalk.
Figuring out.
Fade the chalk. If you fade it, they will come.
Let's hope so. Hopefully, I will.
Yeah, exactly. After
if it works out,
all that James Conner fade.
If it works out,
sprinkling dollars in your account.
Plus, he's not a bad player. He's gonna be popular with.
No, he's good.
Reason.
No, he flashed in the preseason. Had a huge line for the work that he got. Obviously, it's preseason, so can't buy too much into it. But he wasn't a slouch, and if Lev's not there, he's gonna get every single touch. So, yeah.
Who's your? So I guess I'm assuming those are your RB1 and 2.
No, for sure. But a bargain price RB that I really like the week is Alex Collins.
Alex Collins,
yeah.
7-point favorites at home. Historically, running backs in that position have fared very well.
Yeah, 5,600 on DraftKings. I love this matchup. He should be the dude. Catches the ball a little bit too, so I love this play. I also have him in one of my leagues, so I'm biased, but whatever.
Somewhat of a similar price range. I'm gonna go ahead and go with Lamar Miller.
Lamar,
yeah.
You don't think Alfred Blue is gonna just steal all his looks?
If that game shoots out, no. I think Lamar Miller will be playing into his late 30s. He's got some Frank Gore written on him.
Oh yeah,
I don't know why.
I can see that,
but I like Lamar Miller. I like him in a shootout. I like him to get some. He could go for 2 touchdowns and 100 yards in this game pretty easily, I think. On the other side of the ball,
no Deontay Foreman to steal some of his work.
I don't know where he's at.
He's on the pup out for 6 weeks. Drop that guy if you have him in your leagues, guys. Don't hold on to Deontay Foreman for 6 weeks for no reason.
Too much of a question mark. Not worth it. Yeah, I think wide receiver is the there may be some chalky plays at wide receiver this week. Who are you looking at wide receiver?
Again, in that same matchup, I love Hopkins here. Anyone, he's always hyper targeted any game, especially with Deshaun Watson. I think he's just going to be a beast. 8,300, a little pricier, obviously, but I'll pay up for that.
He's really good, also.
Yeah, plus he's really, really good at football.
I think last year we saw a few instances where he was force-fed the ball. And
no, I think his targets are going to go down a little bit because that was just ridiculous. But still going to be super productive, and they still have Will Fuller there to stretch the field, and they got Lamar Miller.
Speaking
there.
of Will Fuller,
yeah,
he's my guy.
The fifth, that's that dude.
He's my guy. New England has a way of taking away the top option for the other team, and I think he gets. I think Watson may have to just look to Fuller in this game if he wants to score, and I'm fine with taking a chance on $5,100 Will Fuller.
Oh no, for sure, yeah, super cheap, and Deshaun Watson can sling that ball, toss it up there anytime. In this same game, my cheap guy I like a lot is Hogan.
Oh,
6,100.
Hogan's going to have a hell of a season. I'm really excited to play Hogan every week until they price him at least 8,000.
Yeah,
he's the top option in New England.
Yeah. Edelman's gone. They've kicked every other wide receiver that came into camp out of there.
They're gone.
Yeah,
they changed the locks.
Yeah, they said pack your shit.
I like him a lot. Another wide receiver I want to just make a note of. I think Keenan Allen is the top play at wide receiver. It's close between him and Michael Thomas. I'm going to give the edge to Keenan Allen only because I expect the game to be a little bit closer than the Saints game, and Keenan Allen might be the best receiver in the league. What do you think?
No, he's a monster.
He's fast. He has hands. He's on a good passing team.
If he can stay healthy, he's a top 5 guy for sure. Him and Phillip Rivers are on the same page. They got really good rapport with each other. Great route runner. Gets open. Keenan Allen, great play for DFS this weekend, season long.
Keenan Allen's making it into 80% of my lineups this week. Hot take. I expect him to go.
That's
off.
like most.
It's the majority.
Wow.
For those,
if I'm doing my math
inclined.
Right, which I like to think I am.
Yeah, we're not really sure. We're not X's and O's type of.
Is that good for
players.
receiver? You got any other hot takes?
Chris Godwin at 4,100 is going to be fairly chalky, but with good reason. If we're going to have a lot of garbage time in New Orleans, I expect Chris Godwin to get his late, and he could be one of those guys that gets you, 2 to 5 points through the first 3 quarters, and then blows up in the fourth and changes the whole slate. So we'll see. Keep a earmark for him. I like John Ross. I like AJ Green. I like all Cincinnati actually.
We like that matchup a lot.
Correlates with Andy Dalton at quarterback, but if you can put AJ Green, John Ross, or if you want to mix and match, I like that combo across the board. I like them big time. But I think as the weeks have gone on, I think that Andy Dalton's going to be a lot more popular than I originally hoped.
For sure. Ago. I think people are still sour on him from last year. A guy that was not getting drafted early, but he was, he was a QB1 that people were drafting last year, and he screwed a lot of people, especially guys that drafted him hoping for a big season last year. So I think there's some recency bias there, but I think he can turn it around.
The beautiful thing about DFS is you get to have a short memory.
Exactly.
That's the luxury of it.
That's the beauty.
Moving on. Since we have 3 wide receiver spots, I'll just throw one more out there that I like. I like Emmanuel Sanders this week.
Throw it at me.
I like Emmanuel Sanders.
I was looking at him on I came across him.
He's 5K in the matinee games. Earl Thomas is just reporting to the team. There's no more Richard Sherman. Definitely no prime Richard Sherman. I expect Seattle to give up some points this year. I do like, and that's kind of also why I like Case Keenum, or at least I'm not opposed to Case Keenum this week.
Right.
I think he could be sneaky. I think in line with a lot of how I see these games going, I like a lot of the unders this week. So if a lot of the games busts early, especially the chalkier games, if you're sitting there with Case Keenum, he's going to be low owned late, and he could be a guy that really gives you a lot of leverage in tournaments. So I like him for that reason. Moving on, we got tight end, and I got my eye on 2 guys for tight end.
Throw it at me.
The first guy, Jack Doyle.
Jackie Doyle. You don't think Ebron's gonna,
Not worried about Ebron.
Come over there?
I think Andrew
punch him in the gut?
I think it's possible.
This is my field.
I haven't looked at his gut. I haven't looked at his gut too closely, but I think that it can take a punching, and I think that Eric Ebron isn't going to get as much love as people think he's going to get.
Right on.
But I'm excited. I'm excited for Doyle. He's his favorite target, and Cincinnati's pretty good at shutting down opposing wide receivers. So if this game does shoot out, I think 2 touchdowns for Doyle is not out of the question. And if you pair him with a guy like Andy Dalton and AJ Green, you have a huge floor right there, starting in almost every lineup.
2 touchdowns.
It's beautiful
and much cheaper than Ebron, if I'm looking at this correctly.
Yeah. I mean, and you got guys like Gronkowski who could break the slate.
I'm sorry, he's a little bit pricier than Ebron, but not the 3,600 cheap.
Like I said, I'm not worried about Ebron taking anything away from him. Tyler Eifert is another guy. If you want to stack him up with Dalton, I'm not opposed to that. He's on limited snap count, I believe, but all he really needs is a few red zone looks to hit value. So I'm good with him.
Dalton's favorite red zone look a couple years ago. People are, again, about recency bias. People are butthurt by Mr. Eifert and screwing them the last couple seasons. Can't stay healthy, but seemingly healthy now. So hopefully he can get it going again and be that red zone monster he was a couple years ago.
Yeah, not opposed to it.
What do you think about Gronk? Priciest tight end, of course, but I like him this week.
I think it's still cheap for Gronk. 6,900. He's priced with a lot of. He's priced as basically Gronk is a wide receiver, and he's priced as a lower end, top end wide receiver.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was.
He can break the slate. If you throw Gronk in your tight end or your flex position, I think who would you rather play at that price? Odell Beckham Jr. or Gronk. And I think with the matchup, give it the matchup, it's a no brainer.
Yep.
So I'm fine with Gronk.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll be paying up with him based on a lot of how my lineups are looking right now, but he's a guy that I'm definitely going to have some exposure to because he can break the slate. 3 touchdowns, 100 yards, easy.
Of course.
Very easy.
Yeah, and usually starts off the year, monster games.
I do like the correlation with him and Tom Brady. So if you have those 2 in your lineup, I like that correlation on it. And if he does, he catches 3 touchdowns. That's 3 touchdowns for old TB12.
And my cheapo guy that I liked was Ricky Seals-Jones.
Oh yeah, Ricky Seals-Jones is actually getting a lot of headway in Arizona, and I think with with their targets they got.
Well, they lost a lot of targets.
Larry Fitzgerald, Christian Kirk, Ricky Seals-Jones moves his way up in that top 3 conversation. But I mean,
I think he'll surprise this year too. He flashed a little bit last year, especially when Gresham went down, but. I think Ricky Seals-Jones is a sneaky play here at 3K.
I like it. I also like ASJ a lot at 3,200.
If he gets monitor that though, people. He's been a little bit banged up, so make sure he gets on the field.
He's got the Q tag. If he's out for whatever reason, that's a huge red zone target you're taking away from Bortles, which I think elevates Keelan Cole a bit, and Dede Westbrook, and Leonard Fournette at that point. So. I wanted to bring up something. McCaffrey, 6,400. He's going to be very chalky this week. People love McCaffrey.
Oh, for sure.
They're saying he's going to be featured all over the field.
He had a huge preseason, so people are that's fresh in their mind. And, a guy that skyrocketed up the ADP. And, yes, definitely guys are going to be playing him on DFS.
If you're looking at McCaffrey and Connor as your running back combo, it opens up the ability to do, I'd say, 3 top-end wide receivers.
Yeah.
Top end wide receiver, which I love. So let's get it moving here to our flex spot. I think my flex spot is mainly going to contain guys like DJ, like Keenan Allen, guys in the late games who I have major exposure to. I like them in that flex
when you
spot.
construct your roster like we were talking about, when you save money, when you can shave some money here and there. And then you can kind of, when you get to your flex spot, you say, oh, shit, I got $9,000 left. I can put whoever I want here.
You can buy anyone you want.
Yeah. What about some defenses that you like?
Defenses, I think the chalk defense this week is going to be the Saints at 3,600 for good reason. They're huge home favorites against a potentially bad Tampa Bay team.
Yeah, we don't know is Fitzpatrick going to He's going to be slinging for him. So
old Fitzy is going to.
What can he do?
He can have a long day,
along with his long beard.
It's true.
People will be pulling on that shit.
The Jaguars have a really good matchup against that offensive line in New York. I don't think I'm going to be paying up too much for that offense or that defense, but another one I like is going to be.
What do you think about the Vikings D?
Panthers. Sorry,
Panthers.
I blanked out. Panthers defense.
Against Dallas,
$3,200 against Dallas. without any real receiving threats yet that we know of.
Yeah, nothing's
I'm
emerged
looking
there yet.
$2,900
Big question mark
Tennessee
there.
Titans too.
Tennessee,
$2,900 for Tennessee against Miami. Kind of like that spot, especially gives you a little salary savings. And we talked about Browns for weeks now.
What do you think about the Bengals D against Indy?
It's a potential spot. I don't like it in game stacks when I have Dalton and Jack Doyle, but that $2,700 spot seems to be coming up in a lot of my lineups. So I probably will have a few spots with Cincinnati's defense.
Yeah,
but you can pretty much do anything you want this week when it comes to lineup construction. So it's going to be like the wild, wild west out there. A lot of overlay in lineups, so it should be interesting. Find ways to be different. Find leverage spots.
One defense I looked at that I really, really liked was the Vikings. I know they're playing against your Niners in Minnesota.
It's a good
Vikings
defense.
Traditionally just stupid good at home. If you look at the last their last home games, I think the most they've allowed is 24 points, and that was in the playoffs. Beyond that is they just do not let people score.
Right. You take away the starting running back for the Niners, and I think you're right. I think
their running back situation a little bit murky, but they got old Jimmy G, pretty boy.
Yeah, Vikings, the most handsome quarterback in NFL history.
Yeah,
Jimmy G, and the Vikings, they're also a good leverage spot over the more heavily owned Saints too at $3,500, $100 less. So you differentiate yourself there too.
I'm with that.
So I think that'll wrap up week 1. Best of luck.
What about our league? What's going on there? Are you excited? Who are you playing this week?
This week I've got Chris. I've got our pal Chris. We our league, 12 dudes, 1 cup, half-point PPR, 12-team league. We drafted about a week and a half ago, and matchups are set. I'm hitching my wagon to Cam Newton this year.
Do you put any stock in projections?
Yeah, it depends on from who. I don't put stock in Yahoo projections per se.
Yeah.
Definitely not draft grades either, because as we know, their projections are kind of upside down sometimes.
Yeah, their draft grades are shit.
He got a bad draft grade.
It was because you left a player off.
It didn't
so I was
matter.
missing 150 points. It's all based off projected points. Yes, it does.
They said you were ugly too.
Yeah. They show up to your house and give you a look down. Yeah, so I'm playing the worst team name in our league, Jimmy Pornopolo. He tried to do something clever there with Jimmy G, but
failed puns aren't going to win you any cups this year.
Yeah, you got to do better than that.
Get your puns on
projected
point
slightly higher. Hurting at wide receiver, like I said, and I have a lot of skin in the game for tomorrow night's game. So hoping for some hot action there and maybe a bit of a shootout, or just I got both the guys on opposite sides of the ball on the ground, Freeman and Ajayi. So yeah, I
think it's safe to say our listeners will be updated throughout the season. Shout out to Cheech for the McKinnon loss.
Yeah, sorry, that's a tough beat.
Tough beat, but we persist.
It happens.
I think you picked up Alfred Morris, so he'll be okay.
Yeah, no, he'll be all right.
It's not the end of the world.
Yeah. But no, it's here now, guys. Revel in it, appreciate it, love it.
Preseason's over.
This is the best time of the year when all the juices are flowing. So get out there, have a great time, do exactly as we say, and we'll all become rich together.
I hope.
How much is in your savings account?
Let's put week 1 in the review mirror until
more
next
than
week.
You care to tell the people.
Until next week.
Yeah, have a good one, guys.
Bye-bye.